council meeting of the Village of Armada will now come to order. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly. We have roll call, clerk, please.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Cronin.
Here.
Wolock.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Sledds.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
Okay, all present. Next is the approval of the agenda. What's the council wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
By Shaw. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, the floor is open up for citizen comments. You have 3 minutes to state your name and your desire.
Yeah, I'm Joe Worden, and I'm actually representing both the bank. I'm with Tri-County Bank now. I work out of the Romeo office. But I'm also representing the Romeo Washington Chamber. And it's one of those things where on behalf of the bank, I like to keep up on what's happening locally. And then also on behalf of the chamber, it's the same thing. We're always looking for opportunities to be helpful. And that was one of the things we decided to do this year, was to start attending some meetings once we could, once things started to open up. So just looking for, opportunities and then trying to stay in tune with what's happening. So, I'm here this time. You may see others, come from the chamber, come over and just try to stay in tune with Armada and be helpful that way. So that's why I'm here.
Very good. Glad to have you.
Yep, thank you.
Joe, are you still gonna be involved with the Armada Chamber?
Yeah, I sure am. I actually joined as Tri-County Bank, joined the Armada Chamber and tried to bring in some experience that way too. Haven't had a meeting for a while, so I'm not really sure what's happening there, but I'll have to reach back out.
Okay, there is one tomorrow, my
Oh,
understanding.
okay.
So very timely, so
Yeah, I guess so. All
if you
right.
can make it.
All right,
What
thanks.
time is that, Ross?
I think, oh boy, don't quote me. I think it's 7 o'clock at, Sam goes to those, my wife, and
Yeah.
with the chamber, it's in my building, we the people, so.
His building's right on the corner.
Yep, I've been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, you've been around a long time, Joe.
I have, yeah, I go back to '96 when we opened the bank south of town there, and sometimes it seems like yesterday, but I'm talking with Joe, and it seems like a long time ago now too.
Well, I think he was in the banking business before that.
Oh yeah, I've actually been a banker 36 years, 36 years this year, so been around a while.
It catches my memory.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Good to have you.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Welcome to our community. Okay, next we will go to presentations. We have none. And administrative reports is next, which will be commissioner liaison reports. You had the planning commission minutes in your packet, and the June code enforcement also is in your packet. So, anyone from the commissioners have a report at all? Wanna wait till
I
later?
just got a question I'm trying to find. The code enforcers paperwork here, if I can dig it up. Anyway, he's had, here we go. Tom's had a note on the bottom of his last 4 or 5 reports to council. He's looking for options regarding notification to resident and business owners regarding ordinance violations and so on. If he sends a registered letter, Jeff, or a certified letter to the owner, once, twice, 3 times, and they don't respond, is that not sufficient notice?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, there's always a defense that comes up, I didn't get it, but
Right,
it's, as long as you mail it, and I would imagine he probably knocks on a few doors too. But typically, I think the practice in the village is, I call it like a 10-day letter, or 7 to 10-day letter,
right,
which gives the person the opportunity. And then I think Tom has to make the decision, do I go to the ticket route, or
Right.
what's my next step, but.
yeah, I just, I'd hate to, each case is, has to be looked at on its own merits, but I hate to think that he's holding off on doing stuff. I mean, I see the same issues in some cases coming
Sure.
up month after month after month, and it sounds like he's waiting for the owner to respond back, or the owner has not responded back, and at some point, after 15,000 times, we have time to contact you, you own it now, and here's your ticket, right? And
Right.
so I just wanted to, maybe we need to go back to Tom and just say, hey, after he's sent 1 or 2 registered or certified letters, that now he's within his rights to do his 10-day notice.
I think Becky sends them by the office here anyhow.
And I would say this too, Russ, even if it got to the point of the ticket, I mean, going to court is about the best due process you can give someone. It's not gonna happen automatic. You're
Right.
gonna get your hearing,
Yeah.
you got your notice, the court's involved, you got an impartial arbiter to decide whether the violation's valid. So I certainly think, he's doing enough to just mail it out even. But I can check the ordinance and see if there's the register.
Yeah,
But I just think it's notice. I think it's more of giving the person at least, like I said, 7 to 10 days to comply.
Right. I just, I don't want him suffering through, months and months of trying to
Right.
contact somebody and no
The other thing
response.
too to keep in mind is, unfortunately, for some of these, you need good weather. So you have to be a little more aggressive because fixing bricks, falling bricks, you can't do that in the dead of winter. You're not gonna find a contractor, you're not gonna get somebody to do it.
Yeah,
So it's important that, you gotta kind of factor in that too, so you gotta be a little aggressive to make sure you get these things
Right.
done.
yeah, and I think council wants to be reasonable with any of the residents or business owners in the village, but after a point, it's like, okay, come on, let's move forward and take care of the problem, so. Okay, I'm just kind of curious. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Mr. President, I got a couple of quick ones then for you. We
Yeah.
talked briefly before we came in.
Sure.
So the purchase of the sweeper will be here Wednesday. They want to do the delivery and the training at the same time. So Dave did confirm to me that it will be here on
So we
Wednesday.
get a bonus sweep.
You get a bonus sweep, yeah.
Okay.
So, and like I said, they're going through some training, even though the guys are familiar, it is still the Pelican unit, but it is still newer enough to where they'll just go over the newer features as well as discuss the maintenance program that we're covering as well. The last meeting, we also talked about the no parking signs. I did get with Chief. I need to get with Chief Crotchy from the fire department to know which ones are no parking for fire and which ones will then be on police order. And then we'll take care of getting that signage up. I think a couple of them in particular, the one on the other end of my street, that will be a no parking because of fire lane.
They put them up and down there on, you on Colonial there?
There's a couple of streets that don't have them for whatever reason. I don't know what happened. but
Because they were parking on both sides, now I see their signs.
Some have both, some, when Chief Drzezinski and I did it 15 years ago or so, we actually even alternated some, like on my street, because of, I have the really long area so we figured it'd be better to let people park there, even though the hydrant's on my side, but it's right at the corner, so it's in the 15-foot. So we've done some of those things. We'll revisit some of Dave's comments, his concerns. Those that are valid between either the police or the fire will be addressed. Those that don't feel, we'll leave it as it is. So,
Very good.
We'll talk the sidewalk here. And then one other thing, I know we've been talking, the trash cans for town. I think it's a neat program. So they want to replace the garbage cans in town. It'll be about $1,600. The cost I can't remember the name of the company from purchasing was a lot more expensive than that. 10 items. They'll be built up. We were getting 10 barrels at $20 a barrel. Ross, we figure 45, 50 bucks for powder coating, and then about 90 bucks for a lid.
That's cheap.
It is, and considering I think from the catalog, we were looking at a minimum like 500.
500 a piece, yeah.
Right, so we'll be in for 160.
Yeah, we're doing a great job of starting to clean up the downtown. It's almost looking Romeo-esque, right?
Yeah.
And we've got flowers and to get rid of those ugly trash cans that we've had. I mean, they've served well, but they just look terrible. And these will be a little bit more user-friendly, and once they get painted, they'll be nicer, I think, for the downtown area. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I think the price is right.
Tim.
So
Very good, thank you. Going to general business, a consent agenda. Approval of the regular council meeting minutes of June 28th and the payment of bills. What is the council wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support. Ballard and Clark supporting. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Are you two abstaining from the minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I forgot about that
It's okay.
temporary here. So,
Okay.
we're into the old business. The sewer plant update, which is Mr. Clark's department, please.
Sure. SBR number 1 is now up and running. SBR 2 is drained and equipment is removed. The walls and floors will be scraped, painted, and caulked. Electrical and piping continues in the north pipe gallery. And we're hoping that SBR number 2 will move a lot quicker than number 1. We should be able to pick up maybe 2 or 3 weeks compared to what we did on number 1. We don't want to get into a situation of bad weather when we roll around to SBR number 3. We're going to be getting into October and we could have some bad weather. Air conditioning is up and running. We're still waiting for parts on the new generator. They brought a guy out, thought he had all the stuff, and they didn't. So that's on order. UIS was able to rewrite the old logic on SBR number 3 so it can work with the updated SBR number 1. And that's all I've got right now.
Any idea as to when the parts may be in?
They're hoping it's just less than 1 more week.
Very
And we
good.
had this bad weather, and then we did have a power glitch, but it came right back on. The plant would run much better with the new generator, but we still have the old one to fall back on. So, but hopefully within a week we'll be back on the new one. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Steve, I just had a question, I don't know what the Armada fair schedule is gonna look like this year or how, but that usually impacts the plant.
Right.
And are they aware, the construction manager, or not, the general contractor, are they aware that that's gonna create some?
Well, we're going to be down to 2 tanks no matter.
No, well, I know, but that's my concern
Yeah.
is.
Well, Matt did raise some concerns, and he's unfamiliar with the fair because last year they didn't have it.
Right.
And I said, it does impact. I said, surprisingly, there's a lot of porta johns there. They do have restroom facilities.
Sure.
And he was wondering if maybe they could back off from using their restrooms a little bit. I said, well, I can talk to somebody over there, but I don't know how that's gonna fly.
How are you gonna do that?
I don't know.
Unless you close them.
They would close it.
Well, they've got the one smaller one that's by the office.
By the
That's kind of
office,
a
right.
hidden one. It
Yeah.
doesn't get used much. And then you've got the big one. But I did tell them that there are heck of a lot of porta potties out there. But
They had a fair board meeting this morning.
did they?
The chief and sergeant was there
Okay.
at the meetings, but I don't know what transpired.
Okay.
So,
Maybe I'll go up there for whatever good it will do, at least to mention it.
so I'll probably talk with the chief tomorrow, but I wasn't available.
Okay.
Talk this afternoon to him.
It's some of this, I mean, it's just gonna be out of our hands. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I look at it, we got through the really big rain we had 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, we did.
and the fair is gonna be nowhere
No.
near that.
Nowhere near
But-
that.
So, he's just a little apprehensive because this is his first fair, so. I'll check with somebody.
Very good, thanks, Mr. Clark.
Mhm.
Water Department, Ross, do you have something?
Yeah, just a quick note that we continue to work with McIntyre Soft Water, who is the company that will lead the media exchange effort, and work with Eagle. We're doing a back and forth right now with respect to whether we need a permit or not. McIntyre's has provided some information to Eagle about the recertification of the media. This is the same media we've used since the beginning, and we're hoping that Eagle allows us to move forward without a permit. Just concerned that a permit's going to take unnecessary time. So we have spent no money to date. We'll continue the conversation. Hopefully by the next meeting we'll have a clear path forward on what we have to do, whether we need to submit a permit or whether Eagle will allow us to go ahead without doing a permit. One of the reasons why Eagle is concerned is we're the first of the roughly 30 to 40 type facilities that use the G2 media in the state to rebed new media in there. And so they're a little bit concerned about that. Again, McIntyre's doesn't think it's a big issue, and so that's the discussion with Eagle. Also just remind Steve and Chris that the DPW roundtable, we'll do that on the 23rd, Friday the 23rd. If you guys are available, Mike, you're welcome to come too.
What time is it at?
This is down at the DPW building.
Yeah.
We'll all kind of cram into Dave
His
Wagner's office, and
What time's the meeting, Ross?
9 o'clock we've been doing
9 o'clock, and that's a Friday?
next Friday.
You gotta be careful, you'll have 4.
That's what I was just gonna say, is that a problem?
That's too many.
No.
That constitutes a meeting.
Is there? We're not deciding anything in there. This is an opportunity to talk with the DPW supervisor about ongoing
Well, your committee.
infrastructure issues.
Your committee is sufficient, I think, Ross. I mean, you have 3 of you there.
Well, if you've got any issues.
Yeah, I can talk. I talk to Dave, he calls me.
Okay. Yeah, I know you guys talk, and we'll do the 3 then, but if you got something about the Buckaroo, let us know, and we'll talk.
I'm patiently waiting.
Okay, get those seats, yeah. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. A new business, record retention policy, sidewalk replacement program, and a quote for village office janitorial service. You have that in your packet there also, and you have a new slip on your desk.
Well, the record retention policy has been brought up again because, as you know, we can't store things in the top of the garage anymore, so that has created not a problem, but a potential future problem. So Jeff found me a pretty good retention policy through the MML, and created the agenda sheet for it, only because he had went through and just, of course, made me sound really smart. It wasn't me, it was him. So I'll let you explain what he, what he took out and what he pointed out on this, but it's basically just so we can, as it stands right now, if you don't have a retention policy, you really gotta hold on to everything.
Right.
I'm not a big, hey, let's throw this out person, but as I've said before, I think the electric bills from 1985 can probably go. I don't think we have to hold on to those, and this would allow me to get into the DPW garage, which is where the old stuff is, and get rid of a lot of those boxes so we can get a really organized record area. It's gonna be a lot of work, and I can't do it till the guys are freed up, which is probably winter. And, you know, and we can, you know, get the boxes out of there, we'll get a shredder here to shred what we need to, and just get a better handle on, you know, those boxes. Again, I mean, I know that there are Armada times in there from probably 1960, you know, which will go to the library. I mean, I'm not gonna throw those out, but I don't know, we're just trying to, if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it right. So, Jeff, if you wanna add.
Well, I think you nailed it when you said you don't really have a problem with the state if you keep everything, right?
Right.
It's when you try to dispose.
And I really don't have a retention problem
Yeah.
now, but we could
Yeah,
potentially
so-
come into one.
So it's interesting, in Michigan, any record, and I put in the first paragraph what's defined as a record for purposes of this subject, but the records that are generated and operating in the village don't actually belong to the village, which if you think it's kind of odd, you know, why can't we have the ability or power to control those? But really, if you think about it, we're a subdivision of the state, and the state doesn't want you throwing away official government records. So they're kind of the overview, the big picture people here. So because they basically are records of the state, like I said, as long as we hang on to them, there's no violation. Once Michelle says, I gotta get rid of some of this stuff, then we must comply with the state mandate. And what the state did to help us is they created what they call schedules, approved schedules, and they go through a very extensive review process to determine what records are on those schedules. So the big one for us is schedule number 8, which if you look at your resolution for tonight, it's the Records Management Handbook Guidelines and Approved Retention and Disposal Schedule for Cities and Villages. Well, that obviously covers us, you know, that covers most cities and villages. And that was actually spearheaded, Schedule 8 was actually spearheaded by the MML, so they kind of were the ones that put it together, and then any schedule has to go through this elaborate review process at the state. So Schedule 8's been around since the early 2000s. When Michelle and I first looked at it, we thought, well, this is pretty easy. All we have to do is adopt Schedule 8 and we're golden. But then when I dug a little deeper, the MML basically did put us on notice, and I think you can see that on one of your backup sheets where they basically said, be careful because some of the Schedule 8 items that were in the original version got pulled out and they created a special schedule. So for instance, treasurer records now have their own approved schedule. So we just couldn't rely on Schedule 8. There's a couple other examples. You know, so what we basically did is we looked at what operations do we have that generate records, and where do which schedule is applicable. So we came up with 9 that we feel are applicable. They're listed in the resolution. Obviously, we do have a fully operating law enforcement agency in the village. We don't have fire, so we didn't need the fire one. That'll be handled at the township. So we do have IT functions, we do have employment functions, so those schedules Michelle will do her best to comply with. So what does a schedule do for you? Schedule basically kind of categorizes common public records, and then it notes how long you have to keep it. So it may say permanent, that means permanent, you can't get rid of it, don't touch it, you have to hang on to it. Then there's others that say
1 year
while active. So let's say once you make a decision on it, you can get rid of it. You know, some say plus 1 year, as Michelle said, you might have to hang on to it for a year. So this is kind of our first step in a very long journey, because now I think we're organized, but now comes the really hard part, and that is Michelle trying to go through, years and years and years of records.
Hopefully without a lot of mice and spiders,
Yeah.
because I will fall
Yeah.
out of the top of the DPW garage.
Right. So a couple things I did want to mention. You can create your own schedule, but it has to go through that review process. Michelle and I, right now, we don't think there's a need for anything special. But I wanted to mention that's a possibility. And then the other thing is, can you digitize? And you can do that, and I know it's expensive
Very
to digitize,
expensive.
but I think once Michelle gets into this, I think she's going to find we may have to look at digitizing some things, because
They deteriorate.
even though Michelle is kind of getting rid of the stuff we don't need and focusing, keeping that stuff in paper form, I think all you guys realize that is not, for the long term.
Permanent won't be forever if it's
You know,
only
we
kept
had
that way.
we had a wonderful 150-year celebration. I don't think those paper records are gonna make it 150 years,
No,
so.
we couldn't find them. So
Yeah.
They were digitized.
Right, so I think it's important to maybe start small with, digital, maybe we do minutes or things like that. But once you digitize, the nice thing about it is it's searchable, you can find the stuff. Right now, the challenge for Michelle is, yeah, I can throw some stuff out, but how do I find the stuff I keep? How's it gonna be organized? So there's a lot of challenges here, but this is a great first step. So that's what, in the backup, like I said, you have a nice resolution which identifies the 9 schedules we're gonna follow. We also designate that kind of Michelle will be the person we're gonna authorize to make the final call on these and make sure we're compliant. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. If there's any questions, there's a nice Q&A in the back here from MML I think that came from the state of Michigan. So it's a nice Q&A. I thought it really, in about 9 or 10 questions, summarized, this subject pretty well and gives you a good tutorial on what we're facing with these records. Any questions?
I just want to interject, Michelle, you mentioned buying a shredder. You don't want
No, having a truck come in.
Yeah,
And
that's what you got.
maybe combining with
Yeah,
the
we did
township
that.
or with somebody else who wants to do a
Yeah,
shred day
yeah.
and just,
'Cause we did that at the nursing home.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot shred all.
No, I cannot. I really don't want to have to bring any boxes back here.
Right.
My point is to do it down there, or my hope is.
Okay.
And I had also, one thing that was important was that, the clerk, be it me or the next clerk, because that is our main goal, our main job is the keeper of the records,
Right.
that they get the final determination.
Right.
Because sometimes, there might be a project that was done 50 years ago, but maybe it hasn't been touched in 50 years. I don't, and the state probably would say, hey, you can get rid of those, where I would be like, no, I don't want to get rid of those, The water and sewer files are a perfect example that I have not taken, I haven't even moved anything out of those files, only because I'm not familiar with that stuff. I would need Dave's help, I would, to do that, and that will come later. These files in here are fine, but as we box up things, my intent is to get a numbering system with boxes and have a master of what's in that box, every paper, just have it all and keep it in the office. That way, if anything is FOIA'd, it makes it a little easier to locate the paperwork that you need, and abide by what the state's rules are.
When it comes to certain functions like water, when you get ready to go through those records, you would call me in,
Yep.
you would say, okay, let's go through these
Yes.
5,000 boxes, and here's the requirement
Yeah.
for these records.
Yes.
You would tell us.
I would. And again, look, I don't throw things away for the village. I always think there's somebody that lives here that doesn't throw away anything. And that's, you're representing everybody, Then like Jeff said, they're not our documents, they're the state's, but they're also your people's documents. I mean,
Sure.
so it's, and I, for a long time, I was of the thought process, if the other clerks didn't think they needed to get rid of it, who the heck am I to come in here and say, oh, we can get rid of that? It's a hard line.
Yeah.
But like I said, the bills that we paid in 1980, we don't need to keep
Well, it
those.
needs to be done.
It does need to be done, and it's just, it'll help any future clerks for the village, have a better, just a better handle on the records, so.
Is there, Jeff, a general time limit under Schedule 8 for most of our records, 5 years, 7 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's pretty good. I mean,
It's
it's
here,
pretty, it's
yeah.
it's kind of, I don't quibble with the way, they did it. The things that are permanent, it makes sense that they're permanent,
Right.
Yeah. Decisions.
There may be things that we look at and it's like, man, where does that fall? I mean, so, yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
a
there's-
learning curve, for
But-
sure.
But they do, like I said, the one from Schedule A from the MML, I mean, obviously they had our interest at heart in drafting it and getting it approved. So I think it's user friendly in that regard, Ross, but
Okay.
the only thing I would maybe disagree with Michelle on is, it's great to keep everything, but then when you get that FOIA,
Yeah.
You have it,
Mhm.
guess who has to dig it out,
Yep.
you know?
No, he
so-
knows it, yeah, oh, no,
So-
yeah, no, he knows.
So there's
Yeah.
a kind of a double-edged sword.
And I'm okay now, you know, if I have something in place, because again, if you don't have something in place, you can't get rid of it. You
Right.
know, so it ends up,
Yeah, you
very-
kind of explained that last
yeah,
time. That,
it's, you know, you gotta be very careful. And at least this is very defined and it's easy to look up and, you know, I mean, we might have things that are called a little bit different, but I think anybody could figure out what
So
they
we
mean.
make the motion tonight, and that, in your mind, I think yours, Jeff, that starts the process, right? I mean, it's, as you say, it's gonna take a period of time to.
It's going to take a
Purge
long period of
everything.
time for me to even be able to get down to the DPW and have them help me. Because that's, you know, Dave's like, please don't do it now, please wait till winter when we're just down in the shop cleaning up. It'll be cold up there, but, I can't have them help me right now, they're too busy, so I have to wait until they have a
Gotcha.
downtime,
Okay.
so. But yes, this would begin that. My main goal right now isn't the office, it's the files at the DPW.
Got it.
You know, and getting those cleared out, maybe trying to get some moved
Yeah,
from the well
because those
house, you know.
4 to 5 years old. or
Right,
less.
Right, yeah, probably wouldn't even touch anything for the next, you know, for the first 5 years. I'm going back as far as I can. But again, I wanna have I mean, when I do this, I have to commit to doing it because I can't disrupt the DPW garage by pulling down boxes and filling up their garage until I can get a shredder.
That's,
You know, so it's, you know, it's gonna take some timing and some planning with Dave. You know, I'm gonna have to sit and talk to him, so. And then I can get these files, you know, from here moved out.
I'm happy to jump in when you do that on water and get the
Yep.
water stuff.
Okay,
squared
I'm
away.
fine with that,
So,
so.
okay, you looking for the motion then with
Mhm.
the individual schedule numbers on it
Yep,
today?
that's the one, yep. Thank you, Rob.
So what's council's wishes? Did you want to make
And
it?
I would make a motion to adopt the resolution approving general retention and disposal schedules number 1, 8, 11, 24, 26, 28, 30, 31, and 32 as approved by the state of Michigan for administering the retention and disposal of the village's public records.
Support.
By Shaw. Moved and supported, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is a sidewalk replacement program, which is Mr. Leslie, please.
All right. So attached is our latest quote for the sidewalk replacement from D&E.
It said 0.
It went down, yeah.
Everybody caught that 0.
Yeah, everyone gets it, yeah.
That'd be
So,
great.
yep, so you went up to $10 a square foot for the 7,568 square feet, which would put you at $75,680, as well as another $3,250 for the restoration of lawn areas. This is in this line stuff. So we do need to complete them this year. We need to losing our Act 51 funds for the project. Process, okay, yep, we got the letter for the residents. And Joe, these are still written as the max, they're just taking their total frontage. Total
The
like
old
the
one.
sidewalk.
Those are the old ones, I have not done anything.
No, I understood,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right, but that was my understanding, is that it was, basically comes up with your not to exceed. If indeed, everything had to be replaced.
Yeah, I mean, like Joe's was off. I don't know that all of them were off.
Okay.
You know, Ed went with Darwin when they went and they mapped things out. I believe, because, and the only reason I knew that was because Joe mentioned, she's like, I got a letter and you know, that's more than I even have in frontage. So it was probably a best guesstimate, which I think we said in the letters, because you'd rather go out high than low.
Right.
But, you know, these letters, there's a process that we have to go through to do sidewalks. So when Chris and I talked, I said, well, you need to ask council if they want to rebid this because it did go so far up than what it was, or if, you know, I don't know if you contacted any cement companies, Chris, you know, just to see if that's the going rate.
It pretty much
you know?
is the going rate.
So if it's the going rate, then is it worth waiting, you know, sending out, because you're getting into another time crunch. So,
Exactly.
but the letters have to go out.
Fair time too.
You're gonna hit fair, you're
Right.
gonna hit, you know, winter, you know, the letters have to go out certified, the people have so many days to contact the office, which will be forwarded directly to you, because, I mean, this is going up considerably, so the letters that we sent out last year to the residents,
Right.
it's about half, you know, so, you know, people might be sticker shocked, you know, as well, any businesses, I don't think there's any businesses, but if you know, if you wanted to rebid, that's gonna take a whole other, you know, 8 weeks, you know, so, you know, that's why there's no motion, I didn't put a motion on, because I wasn't sure what you guys wanted to do, if you just wanted to go with the quote and accept it, or, if you wanted to have them rebid, so.
So in other words, the amount is 75,680.
78,930, I think, with both of those
Yeah, with those two amounts.
versus 45 and change.
So we're talking $30,000 plus.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of seems quite a bit.
Oh, I did.
I know cement went up.
It did. At the same point in time, like I said, you know, in working with the folks at D&E, you know, they, as the D left the D&E,
Yes.
you know, even their idea was they weren't exactly sure where the 597 would have come from in the first place, because that was even less than the going rate at the time. So I know Brandon struggled with this as we were, you know, mapping it all out. Is, hey, I don't know, that number isn't consistent with anything we do. So,
Yeah.
and I know we are up against the wall.
597, and it went up to 10.
Sorry.
That's what those numbers are.
Well, what's council's wishes, actually? Any other further discussion?
So I do have to, Joe, when is it that we, the money would be, we would lose the money?
At 51.
Yeah, but when, I mean, when does it expire?
A year and a half ago.
Okay.
How long ago, Joe?
A year and a half ago.
Ago?
Ago. Yes.
Ago.
These are,
Yes,
they
we
needed to
haven't
be
done
done
it.
last
We
year.
haven't done the sidewalks that keep us in compliance with the non-motorized walkways.
Because the Act 51 is good for 1 year.
Each year you get Act
Yes,
51
right,
applications. But it was a year and a half ago that
For
we
this
got our first
application.
notice
Gotcha.
that, you know, you are in default of using this portion of
For
your Act 51.
non-motorized.
Okay, right.
And then last year we didn't use it again either, so,
We ran out of time last year.
yeah, we've got to get at it this year.
Will you send
Got
your
it done.
grant money for this, or the, what's the block, you know, the block bid?
No,
No.
you can't use Black Grant for this, no.
What do we get where if people below certain, income
They can go
levels?
to the county and they have to prove their income, and the county may help them. There are programs out there, but
They
that's
can-
through the county, not
They can
through us.
apply then, David.
Yeah, yeah. So, and like I said, we just gotta get the letters out. You know, we can't, you know, because that's a process in and of itself. The ordinance is really clear, but don't ask me what it says. Right now, it's a period of time.
Are you good with this, Chris?
No, but what are you?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, the answer to Dave, truth is no.
Yeah.
But at
No.
the same point in time, it's, you know, if we don't do it, and what do we lose? And then,
Well, we don't want to lose, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We're all in
it's
that.
also split in the time. Initially, you know, a month ago, the idea would have been great, and I would have done the Fair Street loop before the fair, and then everything else afterwards.
Right.
Did they give you any tentative start or anything?
No, I had a June tentative start, now with July coming in. They have bandwidth, but I know I do not have a fix at this point, because I told them, without having an answer, I don't know what to tell them.
They know about the fair though.
They do know about
Yeah.
the fair, absolutely.
So in other words, if we give them the information tonight and tomorrow, in other words,
Mhm.
the thing is, you think they can start yet before the fair and get that
I
portion
will find
done?
out.
The letters have to go out and the people have up to so many days to respond.
Yeah, no,
So-
thank you.
So
I
that's
don't
gonna-
know if
Sounds like
it'll
it's
have,
after the
Figure
fair.
out what this is, the 12th?
today's
Yeah,
the 12th.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, the letters can be prepared and out this week,
What's the fair
but
this year?
16th.
16th it
16th.
starts.
Okay.
I think you're gonna be
Yeah,
after the
in 2
fair,
weeks, yeah.
before you get all your ducks in a row.
I would doubt it.
And we have used D&E before.
But
They've done some stuff for me by the lift station. I've been more than happy with their work. And I think in the past, the DPW's been very happy with what they've done.
Yeah,
It's just unfortunate the timing right now, but
right.
Chris, when we went out last year, I know that 597 is a little kind of a fuzzy number, but did we get anybody else to bid on that, do you recall? The first time we went out?
no, I don't think
They
so.
were
I think it
only
was just
better.
Dini.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was, I mean, you can always go back out, but if you're
What are
expecting
you
to
gonna
do it.
get, right?
Well, with concrete work, I don't know if you
Concrete
would
is exactly, it's even worse.
I don't know if you get anybody in a short period of time. you know.
Right.
I sure don't wanna lose any money. Something's
No.
gotta happen.
Well, and residents can come in and sign an agreement to pay their balance over 12 months to, I mean, they'll get a bill within 30 days of the work,
Completion.
but, we'll work with you.
I have to admit, I did walk all the walks with Brandon. Our criterion was pretty clear, and our side, fortunately for us, there isn't a lot of gray between those that have the trip hazards, the deteriorating walks, and then some odd, we would say there was a tree plant that broke up or whatnot. Those were the only ones we're after. Now, on a few occasions, Brandon did point out to me from a building perspective, is code doesn't permit you to leave an island, so you can't just lop off a chunk and then leave a spot and then have that island can't exist either. So we did try to make sure we minimized on every parcel. There was a couple corners. I did speak to the property owners and at the day we were there too, to let them know. I mean, you can see in the pieces, and in particular, there's a couple folks that have driveways that were, further deteriorated the walkway because of not being rated for that type of loads. But, so we did try to minimize it, and then also maximize the amount of square footage we can get out of the quote, so.
Okay.
And you have to be clear that of that 75,000 or so, only 37
Half of
is
it
coming
goes to
out of the village's street
Right.
funds.
Right.
So the rest of it gets billed to the residents that have work done.
Joe, do you know how much we have to spend out of action? Is there an amount that you know?
It's a percentage of what you get, and at one point, a year and a half ago, we needed to spend like 15.8, and it's higher now. So, because we've added more time.
We doubled it.
Well, council, what do you want to do?
I said, we want a motion?
Yes, I think we
And we'll
should.
have to write that, so the suggested action will be to
I'd say to accept the proposal
accept, yep,
from D&E Landscaping and Grading.
Include their estimate
the
number, I guess.
proposal from
To
D&E
9:30.
Landscaping
Landscaping and grading.
and Grading.
To replace, I don't know, I mean, just to accept it,
I
Jeff?
think
That's the
To
proposal
remove-
number.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, estimate number 6347.
Proposal dated 6/25/2021.
7 dated. June. For a total. And what do we say?
There's a paragraph there, Chris, on, our
70,
proposal.
78,930.
930, yeah. Sorry, Mark, what'd you say?
on their page of the proposal, to remove, replace orange concrete of village walks, he said city, but we could probably use all of that.
what,
Just
two
want, I just want to, I
replace
just want to leave it
porch
just the details, because the other parts are in there.
Use that.
Chris, I just want to say, because we don't know their completion schedule, should we say subject, because everybody agree we have to get this done this
Right,
year. If
right.
they can't do it, then I don't know if I want to bind the village to this, right?
Okay, subject
Subject
to,
to completion by November 1? When Lyle, can you
Lyle,
stop
yeah.
doing concrete? November 1?
Generally, they say November 1, but I would say, I'd give them till October the 15th anyway.
Don't they just go by frost level, continuously frost level?
No.
No.
You know, there's
I like
another,
future, that gives it, that's a couple week cushion.
Chris, there's another neighbor of mine that just had a wide driveway put in. The man's up here from Allington and Burville area. The thing is, he's in the cement business. He has his office down in Fraser, but I could get a phone number for you if you wanted to contact him. It's up to you.
Check in with these guys.
I'm okay with this one.
you know, be aware too that residents they can contract their own.
They can, not right.
They
Yeah.
can, so that's what the letter explains to them too. But
Okay, make a motion.
All right, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept a proposal from D&E Landscaping and Grading, Inc., estimate number 6347 dated 25 June 2021, for a total of $78,930, subject to completion by 15 October 21.
Support.
First, what was it amount, 79?
78930.
7830, subject, all right, let me read that back. To accept the proposal from D&E Landscaping and Grading Incorporated, estimate number 6347 dated 6/25/21 for a total amount of $78,930, subject to completion by 11/1/21.
15 October 21.
Oh. 15. And who seconded that?
Sean.
Any further discussion?
Got a roll call?
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Wolock,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next is the quote for village office janitorial service. That was on your desk when you came in. From Olson Janitorial Service. Do you have anything further on that, Michelle?
No, the one on the desk just, he updated one thing, I don't even remember now what it was, because I sent it to him before I left on vacation last week, so. We just wanted to be sure that the floors in the bathroom were getting cleaned every time he's in too, so I think that's all he added, but. No, we need those, we need a cleaning company.
The other guy quit?
Yes, and we have not been able to replace, and
He's even been trying to help recruit.
he's been trying to recruit for us, so we've just found nobody. And, quite frankly, I would like to see a business come in and do it, not just a human, have a business come in, they'll come in probably on the weekends, do all the work they need to do. They can't do the police department unless the police are in there, obviously, but we've always had that issue, even with our previous, so.
How much were we paying for the last one? What did it work out to?
The guy we were paying?
Yeah.
I think we were paying him $12 an hour. I don't remember what it worked out to be.
Okay.
Would have been less.
Set
Yeah.
amount per month.
Yeah.
Is this a year, or 1 year agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it says right on the agreement.
Yeah, but you can terminate within 30 days if it
Yes.
parties
Yeah.
agree, it's standard.
Yep.
So what is council's wishes?
Mr. President, I'll move to accept a quote from P. Austin Janitorial Service Incorporated for a bi-weekly janitorial services of the village office, conference room, and police department at a cost of $205 per month.
Second.
That's now bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
Yeah, he has, that's for 2 times a month.
So you're talking $410.
That's right.
No,
No,
$205 per
Oh,
month
I'm
for
sorry.
bi-weekly.
I'm
Yep,
sorry.
Oh, per month.
yeah,
Per
I
month.
forgot the month.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Roll call.
Then he
Roll
has
call
some
for spending
additional-
money.
He has some additional services that he does.
Well, yeah, he cleans our carpets. I mean, that's gonna be an extra cost. That's not rolled into
Oh,
this
it is.
amount. It's-
Occasionally, there'll be window cleaning once, twice a
Right.
year.
Yeah,
Right.
cleaning the carpets, hopefully we'll get them in every 6 months, but again, that will be additional costs.
Okay, so if we go ahead with this, he's starting virtually immediately.
Yeah, I mean, when I let him know, yeah,
$340 per clean per car.
Carpet cleaning, right?
yeah. But that's what it is. I mean, we just had them cleaned, so, I mean, we know that that's the cost for it.
Got it.
Yep, 1 year auto renewal thereafter.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call on it, please.
Ballard,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Wallach,
Yes.
Bulky,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
And to clerk to sign this, right, okay?
Okay, yep.
Up and coming agenda items, council have any?
We have to set a public hearing for the planning commission at the next meeting. Don't know for what, but it's the
Text amendment.
text amendments.
Oh, okay.
And I hope to give you an update on
The one on
water,
Yeah.
Mark.
Update on water.
placement on the G2 media. And the filtration
For the district, they have in the,
Yeah, it's both. I mean,
Okay.
we're just adopting the ordinance
Yeah.
in office.
what do we call that?
Use variance.
Use variance.
Yeah,
You're thinking overlay district.
overlay
It's both.
district,
Overlay,
that's
I know
right.
that's what he was searching for.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the term I'm looking for, thank you.
Mr. President, I will have a police report for the next meeting from Chief Mike. And this will be like a blotter report that I will read it to council and I'll give it to the clerk as far as entering into the records.
Good. Thanks, Ballard. Citizen comments at this time, and again, the floor is open up for 3 minutes.
Nothing further. But
Again, thanks for coming, appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you, Joe.
I'll definitely keep in touch though and see if we can help. Like I said.
Good, so, always welcome.
Thanks.
Council comments at this time?
I just got a quick one. I just want to reiterate about using flushable wipes and flushing them down the toilets. Please don't do that. It creates havoc for the sewer lines and down at the sewer plant. Even though they have some new ones that are biodegradable, but they're not going to biodegrade from your house to the trip to the sewer plant. So please just throw those in the garbage.
Has there been a blockage due to that?
Well, the guys have been
Recently?
keeping an eye on this one, the main coming from the nursing home. They have to clean it out about once every 2 weeks just to stay ahead of it. So,
Maybe we should contact them again.
well, letters did go out to everybody that's in an area.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say just nursing home, but it could be the main culprit, but
We had problems when I was there all the time.
yeah,
The ladies would flushing down there,
yeah,
everything.
yeah. So it's something they know about and they keep an eye on, and but if we can avoid it, that would be great.
Thank you.
Yep.
Community
Mr. President,
minutes.
I do have just a quick alibi. Last meeting we did have, it was in the packet, the SEMCOG survey for water, sewer, and storm drains. So that's where you come in, Chris. Needed some information from you guys, so did we ever get a date back when they wanted?
No, I looked at the email, I could not find a specific
Yeah, I
date.
didn't either, but I think it's.
Probably the
important
sooner
that
the
we-
better.
That we get that data together and send it in. So I'll put that back in your box.
Yeah,
I've got my part filled out, I almost forgot
I
about it.
forgot about it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good. So, community events, anybody have anything?
Concert in the park.
Gotcha.
Killer Vibe.
Killer Vibes coming
This
up,
week,
it's
yep.
a local group, they do a good job.
Yep, they do.
And then Wayward Wind, who, that's Sausalito Brothers, they do a real good job.
And they're next week,
The next week,
yeah.
So you have, what, 4 left then?
yeah, I believe so.
Gotta get that bouncy ride in there before they're over.
I know.
All right, we don't have a closed session tonight either, and I'm gonna entertain a motion for adjournment, please.
The time is 7:57. I move to adjourn.
Support.
By Clark,
Belkey.
Oh, yeah.
Beat 'em up.
any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Hi.
Motion carried.
Joe, are you still on the